Okay, let's go. So, this movie really dives into those Midwestern stereotypes. There were several times where I was like, yeah, we do that. But the one that really kept throwing me off was at the end of every sentence, these folks kept saying, you know. You know? I don't do that. You guys never hear me carelessly throwing around a you know. You know? Damn it! Stop it! Don't say it. Don't give in. Also, the accents were never really giving me Chicago. Accent-wise, I was getting more of this impression of these are from states around Illinois. I never got that Chicago hot dog accent, you know? Fuck! Okay, BIKERIDERS is based on the book, The BIKERIDERS, and also some stuff that happens after the book. It's kind of weird. The movie is about this guy that's documenting this motorcycle club from 1965 to 1973. But the book was originally published in 1968, and the motorcycle club in the movie is the Vandals, but in the book, it's the Outlaws. So I guess this is a fictional account from a book documenting a real club. You know? Anyway, basically this photographer journalist guy is interviewing Jodie Comer through the movie at different time periods and her accounts of what happened to this club during that time period. Seemingly because she's a fucking chatty Cathy. Speaking of Jodie, she's married to Austin Butler's character, Benny. That's her connection to the club. She goes all out on that Midwest accent. It's more of a super northern heavy Wisconsin accent or just a Minnesotan accent.
I never felt so out of place in all my life. That's when I saw him for the first time. It took my breath away. 5 weeks later, I married him.
She goes hard with it, and I do respect the commitment. Just a tad bit exaggerated. The best part about this character is I've seen this woman a million times. She is the neighborhood gossipy mom that keeps everyone informed about everything. Whether her accent is too heavy or not, that lady absolutely exists. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've lived through that lady. I've definitely had some confrontations with that lady. So she's married to Austin Butler, Mr. Cool Guy. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't actually expect anything from Austin Butler in this. He's just there to be cool. And there's no one on this planet that is that cool and that handsome. He has maybe 15 lines of dialogue. He doesn't talk a lot. But when he does talk, here we are again with the low voice. The Elvis voice is back, and it is so goddamn cool.
Told you to take that jacket off.
You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off.
You're gonna have to kill me to get me out of this jacket. The name's Benny.
They also got him, like the first shot of him, all right, hold on. He's standing at a pool table, right? Full flex. He's not playing pool, he's just leaning against it, fully flexed.
Just being cool, staring at the babes. He sees himself a special girl, Jodie, in the corner. That's gonna be his wife. I don't do anything for anybody but me.
That's Austin Butler the whole movie. Then you got Tom Hardy. He's Johnny, president of the motorcycle club. People are either gonna love Tom Hardy or hate him here because he goes full Tom Hardy. It all depends on how much of a fan of Tom Hardy you really are. He does a weird voice and weird mannerisms, and he mumbles and grumbles and twitches.
Hey, you know, just think it over, you know.
Full-blown Tom Hardy at his most hardy. I swear he's almost doing a caricature of himself. And I found that very funny. But when he needs to be intimidating, he fucking brings it. As handsome and cool as Austin Butler is, Tom Hardy can be that intimidating. The rest of this cast, too, it's fucking stacked. Michael Shannon, Norman Reedus, a bunch of other guys that you've seen in other stuff. None of which have any character development. I will touch on that later. Well, did I like the BIKERIDERS? Yes, very much. I liked it a lot. Is it a real movie? Not really. When it comes to motorcycle gangs or clubs, I'm kind of biased. Like, when I was in college 100 years ago, I was in this sociology class. My professor had us study motorcycle clubs for a month because she was married to a guy in one. She was the old lady of an MC in the late 60s. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if she's the same lady in the movie. Anyway, since then, I've had a weird fascination with motorcycle clubs. Sons of Anarchy is one of my favorite shows ever. Sam Crow for life. So when it comes to learning anything about this story or these types of people, I'm covered. There's not really anything new for me to learn. I know the rules. I know how these guys act. I know how these guys break the law. I know how these guys perceive life and how things should be. But the movie itself does not cover much of this information at all. They barely develop any characters. There's basically no story arcs for anybody. It's all from this account of a photographer that was interested in these guys and a lady who was married to one of the club members that likes to gossip. What this whole thing is about is capturing a time period between 8 and 9 years and showing how this club and these people changed as a whole. How this thing started with pure intentions and then how corruption just seeps its way in and how all of this leads into the negative stereotypes of motorcycle clubs. The main character of the movie is the club itself. And they flesh out this character by giving us this timeline of significant events and how these events changed this character. If that's how you look at it while you're watching this, I think you'll like it a lot. If you're looking for something else with the great story arcs and great characters, go watch Sons of Anarchy. It's the tone of this flick that makes it cool. I felt the time period. I really felt the Midwest vibes. I felt the location, and it was a cool vibe. I will say I laughed a lot, probably more than I should have, and that's because Austin Butler and Tom Hardy are ridiculous.
What the hell were you thinking back there? Nothing. I saw you squaring off with them guys. What do I need to think for? Yeah, you and me, kid.
But as a whole, with the rest of the club, it's just a bunch of motorcycle nerds geeking out over bikes and drinking beer. Generally, I don't think people will like this as much as I did. I think they also might find it a little boring in some parts. But that time period was a lot slower paced than how today is. And that's the tone that I think they nailed. I think it's a pretty cool movie. I don't think you'd be wasting your money if you went inside, okay? See ya! Subscribe! So I saw this with my buddy, and he pointed out something I found interesting. When you do a low voice like Austin Butler does, it's very hard to record on a microphone because when you speak with a low voice, you speak very soft. Unless you naturally have a low voice, it's hard to project a low voice. So if you pay attention, they must have the microphones as close to him as possible. And if you really listen, you can hear that his vocals are cranked. Someone else will be talking, and then when he talks, you can tell his low-ass voice is a little bit louder than other people's because of the sound mixing. Because they had to record his voice different than other people's because he has to have his low Elvis voice.
I don't do anything for anybody. You'd have to kill me to get this cut off.
Perfect time for a car to be revving its shit through the neighborhood.